Today's quote is from Frederick Dodson from Levels of Energy. That's a great book. It's you experience the world not as it is, but as you are. You experience the world not as it is, but as you are. Meaning, my state influences the way that I see things. And oftentimes, the way that I go out into the world influences the world around me and the people in there. Have you ever noticed that when you're in a bad mood and you go out and talk to people, all of a sudden everybody seems to be less friendly? Conversely, if you're in a good mood and you meet somebody who's in a bad mood, you notice how it affects you. It brings the energy down. So that's what he's really talking about. How we get to create our own reality through, that internal work and that in that case, like the energy that we're emitting. So kind of like the concept being like all the lower emotions like fear, apathy, all of this stuff, and then a little bit higher up, anger, frustration, all a little bit higher up. Like all those have different energetic frequencies, and we can only match with something of an equal frequency, or else we have to change. Either it's going to bring the other one down, or the other one's going to bring us up. And so it's kind of like sales, like um, when you're transmitting your state, essentially. So if we're talking and I speak slower, and then I smile, and my state conveys confidence, joy, humor, an overall good mood, it can bring up your state if you weren't feeling at that level, if you were feeling a little bit lower, maybe a little bit worried about the day, and you might resist that at first, but whoever has the stronger state is going to bring the other person to their level. So what this means is because number one, being aware of this, and also for me at least, I like to just speak for myself, my own experience. Meditating, doing the things that help me start to become aware of all of this, to be present sometimes, although it's not perfect at all. Listening to different like self improvement and spirituality books on audiobook, therapy, right? Doing that shadow work, different forms of that, depending on the source. Doing the things to start to move through all the clutter inside that accumulates through life, right? And then being aware of the stories I tell myself, like the four agreements type of stuff, the agreements we make with ourselves determines how we live in the world. And that reinforces that agreement, right? So by starting to uncover all of this stuff with the help of other people to get that feedback, because we can only see in a little box. Other people are seeing so much more of the world when we're in this box, right? And then all of a sudden there's no box, and then we can see a lot more. But it's kind of a process. So by going through that process, able to start to remove that stuff that's holding us back, or holding me back, rather, I'll speak for myself, and unlock some of the different levels of energy. And so when I'm going out into the world, I'm not always like chipper and joyful, but I have access to that before and I'm aware of it. So when I'm lower, excuse me, in a lower state and I come across somebody, like I can become aware of how like my energy is, or how I'm acting, or my attitudes if they're negative, and can catch it, like pause, reset, and choose to be in a higher state. And so a lot of that's practice. And like I said, it's not perfect at all, right? But also being around other people who are kind of like going in that same direction helps, because we're not all like in the same state at the same day, right? We're not all fucked up at the same time. So, if you're in a great mood, I'm not. If I'm around you and you're supportive, then that's going to bring me up. Conversely, if you aren't and I am, then that'll help you. And also, the other thing is finding things that bring me joy, like activities that I like to do just for themselves, and doing that. And all of a sudden, I feel a lot freer by pursuing those things. So, yes, again, the quote for Frederick Dodson: you experience the world not as it is, but as you are. Change the state you are in, and you can change your world. Thanks. Like, subscribe. I'll see you next time.